Welcome everyone to our class on iyun b'Gemara. We're trying to first understand the different levels and how they operate, what people say at different levels and what they are not allowed to say. And we're taking this classic piece starting from the pasuk Umeita statement to Kam Yishalem, going through the Mishnah, which says that you have to pay a Meita Ba'aretz, and then we have a Machlokas in the Gemara between Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shmuel, and we conclude like Rabbi Akiva, which is the halacha, and then we have the problem of Abaya. Abaya comes in, he says the two Pesukim, Meitav and Shavi Kesef, Afilu Subin, as alternatives to payment, are contradictory, because if you have to give the best of the land, you shouldn't be able to give the worst of your metaltalin, and if you do give the worst of your metaltalin, you should certainly give the best of your land. And we concluded that with Rav Papa's answer, that actually, to our surprise, land turns out to be a worse payback than metaltalin, because land has a limited amount of buyers and you may not be able to get your money back, and it seems that's what you want, is your money as a nizak. So the Torah says, well, if he's going to land, give him the best, so that'll equalize to Shavi Kesef, and he'll be able to sell his best land, because everybody wants best land. So according to that, the way we've been learning, according to the Rif, according to the Rush who quotes the Rif, you can give either Kesef or Meitav or any type of metaltalin. That was the conclusion according to the Rif and the Rush. Gemara then has this interlude, talks about how do you evaluate what's called Meitav, subjectively or objectively, and then it has a statement of Rav Huna. So Rav Huna says, O Kesef or Meitav. Those are two alternatives. Rav Nachman interrupts him or objects, and he says, wait a minute, we have another alternative, and that's called Shavi Kesef, Afilu Subin. What do you do with that? So he says, that's for the lay slice. So we've been learning that that means if you don't have Kesef or Meitav, that's the only time you could use movables, even Subin. So it turns out over there that Subin is worse than Meitav. So Rav Papa said, Meitav is worse than Subin, because you don't have a lot of customers, and Rav Huna said that just the opposite, that Subin is worse than Meitav. Doesn't say why, but that's what he concludes. So that's where we were holding, reading the Rush, and the Rush Pesachs like the Rif, brings his raya from Rav Kahana, who over there it seems that you can use them equally, and sides with the Rif against Rabbeinu Tam. So we know that the Rif is holding like Rav Papa, and we know that Rabbeinu Tam is holding like Rav Huna. How do we know that? Because Agamar and test that says Rav Huna Omar Kesef Meitav. So Tosos brings down Rabbeinu Tam in his book called Sefer Yoshar, and there he pesaks like Rav Huna. Okay. Now we're about to enter these two Rishonim here. That's the Rama and the Rambam. Where do they hold in this configuration? Okay. Are they holding like Rav Papa? Are they holding like Rav Huna? They're holding like someone else we've heard about. So let's go back now to our daf, and here's the Ran, by the way. He's 1320, and they say Reb Yosef Habib, who's a Nemuki Yosef, is around 1400s. They're accurate dates for him, what I researched, but he's a little after the Ran. But whatever, they bring the Rama. The Rama is at the time of the Rambam. Okay, he's 1170. The Rambam is 1138. Okay, so let's look at the Rama and what he has to say, and he's brought in either the Ran or the Nemuki Yosef, but they bring him in. Okay, so let's read this Ran or the Nemuki Yosef. Do you have it with you? So you're talking about hyperlinked. Okay, let's see if it works.
Yes, I do. I just have to find it.
Okay, well, here it is.
Forgot the bookmark.
Here it is. Could believe it. Thanks to Hebrews. Isn't that nice, Ron? Very clear. He calls it Nemuki Yosef here.
I don't see it. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so right, it's called Nemuki Yosef.
Yeah, it's called Nemuki Yosef.
Oh, so you have the actual, you did the actual daf? Right.
Yeah, I have the actual. You like the daf, so we'll start with the daf and then we'll break it up. This is what goes on here. The problem is, where does the Rama stop and where does the Nemuki Yosef begin? It's one of our problems. But let's read what he has to say,
okay,
and then we'll go right. Okay. This, of course, is in the middle. Of course, is the Rif. Okay. And let's look at the Ran. Okay, now here we're going to take it with the word Yosh, the Rif, first of all. Let's read the Rif quickly. Good, you can read the Rif. I put it in yellow here.
Okay. So we should just start from the beginning?
Well, no, from here, this yellow. What? This is the Rif, yeah. So Vahad the Bin Meita. Yeah.
Okay. Vahad the Bin Meita Sedei Meita Kamai. So this that the Torah requires you to give meitav, that is where you're paying with land.
Right.
But if you're paying with a movable object, kol midi diyahiv le meitav minhu va'afilu subin. Anything that you give, which is movable, is called meitav. Even subin would be considered meitav. Now he's going to explain the logic behind that. D'ilay mizdav and hacham mizdav d'ilay mizdav and hacham mizdav and hacha. That's interesting. He changes the language a little bit.
Yeah. Should be really hasam.
You can't sell it here. You could sell it here.
Meaning there, probably hasam. But okay.
Well, the Gemara says the masa achrit here.
Yeah, exactly. Why I say hacha? Okay. But the point is, he's quoting whom?
He's quoting Rav Papa Rav Yeshua.
Exactly, he's quoting Rav Papa Rav Yeshua. Okay, and also, what's his position as far as meitav and metaltalin?
Metaltalin is meitav inherently. It is inherent in metaltalin that it's meitav.
Therefore, if you want to pay back the nizak, what choices do you have?
Metaltalin, you can pay back with subin.
Or, of course,
he's not even limiting what type of metaltalin it is. Anything that has. Well, I would guess if you can't apply the svara of ilay mizdav and hacha, then it would not be called. Well, everything has a value.
Yeah,
is there anything that is valueless? Is there anything that is valueless?
Air, maybe water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very valuable, but Hashem, if Hashem would have put a price on it, I think there'd be a lot of dead people around. That's one of the.
You, but I pay a lot for water here in the city. Every year they raise our prices.
Yeah, exactly. We pay for water also. So let's just say air.
Air.
Imagine we had to pay for air. Oh boy, I don't want to think about that one. So Hashem is this chesed. He said he knew what was going on. And he
but
said,
there is. I mean, in today's day and age, we have what's called garbage. I mean, in those days also they had ashpa, they had garbage. I mean, there's garbage that just nobody wants. You can't use it for anything. It just has no purpose. It's just sort of in the way.
Yeah, I think subin is animal food. It's like
right. Subin has a use. Somebody would buy it.
Right. It's just that it's very uncomfortable. It's very cheap, and you have to get large amounts of it. But someone would definitely buy it. Nowadays, it's also expensive. You know, everything is this brand and that brand, right? And fiber and all those things. But anyway, but it has to have some value. It has
value.
Right.
So even if it's worth a penny a ton, right? And you have to give the guy, $10. So you wind up dropping 1,000 tons of this stuff on his front lawn. You could theoretically say, I was Mekayim what it says, because you could still sell it as a penny a ton.
Right, but it has to be sellable. Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. All right, and if you can't sell it here, you're gonna have to ship that to another place. It's 10 tons of moving.
So the question is, I'm sure somebody will discuss this, but who pays Who has to pay? Let's say I drop on the guy's front lawn,
Exactly.
1,000 tons of the stuff. Now he has to hire a trucker in order to bring it to the market, in order to sell it, which
Right.
is going to cost him a pretty penny.
Right.
Does that get included in the cheshbon? Do you have to?
So in the Shulchan Aruch, they're going to talk about that one. The Shulchan Aruch brings it up. Okay, but our Gemara does not enter, at least over here. Okay, so here it is. That's the Rif. The Rif says equally. Now he doesn't talk Kesser. You see, this is always the missing link here. You see, no mention of Kesser. He just says, well, Meitav is just limited to Karka, and if you want to get Metaltalin, it's all Metaltalin, right? And just like Reb Papa, they didn't bring up Kesef either. Why do I say that? Is Kesef a first choice or is it an equal choice?
Well, kesef, if you apply this Svara of Elam Zam and Hacha, then kesef becomes insignificant.
Very good.
Because
very good. Remember what you just said now.
Right.
Because we're going to learn differently.
Okay.
But at least the Ramah are going to learn differently. But that's an important point that you just said. Because those people like the Rif and the Rush will say what you say. I mean, Rif we don't know exactly, but the Rush will definitely. I don't know if the Rush even mentioned the Kesef. Yeah. Also, because of Rav Kahana, Kesef has to be equal, right? It can't be a first, right? So, according to the Rush, definitely the way he learns the Rif, it's all equal. The Rif doesn't say anything, but Svara, like you said, if I could sell it, what's the difference? I could sell it immediately, so I have the monies at hand. It's not okay, unless it's that 5 tons of stuff we have to take to Modai or something. Okay. Anyway, that's the Rif, and then the Rif quotes the Brisa, right? Let's just finish. Read the Rif.
Right. So the Tanya Kesef Yashiv L'Ba'alav. The rabbis Shava Kesef. So saying that Kesef Yashiv L'Ba'alav, the word Yashiv is coming to include Shava Kesef Afilu Subin. Now, the Afal Gav the Pligi Rav Huna. The Rav Asi.
Rav Asi came along later on, and he said, "Karka Kesef Hayuka Karka," and then the Gemara concluded that was also saying. He said V'chein said. He said the same thing as Reb. Okay, so even though both of them argue, yeah.
Ha came along Kira Papa Rav Huna Bredi Rav Yeshua the Basroininu. Now, Baruch Hashem, this is the second time today that I had this, because I had a Taisus and Menachos earlier that said that we passed like Rava, who's a Basrai, in the case where, and the question as to whether or not you could make your tzitzis out of things that are other than wool and linen. And Rava holds that you could make it out of anything. And Taisus says we passed like Rava, who's a Basrai. So that was
very good. There must have been people before Rava. Now, that's a whole other interesting question, which I did not get into, but where does this rule start? So my research was that it's a rule of the Gaonim. It's not mentioned in the Gemara.
Right.
The Gaonim.
I proposed the theory to Machavusa this morning.
Yeah.
And that was after looking back at the meeting about the destruction of the base of Mikdash, and reading a little bit about the Shruva again about how the evolution of the Gemara. And I think what happened was that there was a curve of excellence that went from the from the time of Shlomo HaMelech, which it was sort of downhill as you went into the destruction of the first base of Mikdash and the second base of Mikdash, where at the point in time where Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi and then subsequently Ravina and Rav Ashi decided that they have to save Torah and start writing it down, and then it probably started the ability to know what really happened started increasing again because they had things in writing. So we passed them like earlier Tanaim because they were closer to the clarity. We passed them like later Amaram because as time went on, they had more things written down and they were able to clarify things again after the destruction of the base of Mikdash.
Okay, this is a big issue that you can research.
That's my theory. I don't know if I'm wrong.
No, you can have your theory, but the people talk about this very heavily. What time does it begin? Where's the source? Why? It's a very hot topic. I mean, it's an important topic. Okay, so I'm not going to get into that issue. Okay, we'll just say that that's the Basroi, and the Afal Gav simply is the Afal Gav is normally you don't paskin with the Talmud neged the Rav. That's the normal situation. Okay, so the earlier generations is Rav Huna and Ravasi, so we should paskin like the Rama, not the Talmud. But then they have this rule from Rava and Abaya, we paskin like the Basroi. Okay, one thing that I saw. Okay, I don't want to get into that whole issue. That's an interesting issue, but that's what it is, and that's what the Rif brings down. Okay, now that we've summarized the Rif, let's look at this Nemuki Yosef and see what he says. Yoshiv.
Okay.
That's yellow over here.
Can
you see it well, or I could blow it up? Do you want?
Yeah. No, I can see it. It's perfect. Perfect.
Okay, great.
I could see it perfect.
Yes.
So Yashiv, the Nemuki Yosef is telling us, is an extra pasuk.
An extra word, actually.
Extra word, right? That's correct. Well, it's interesting. I was just literally translating the Nemuki Yosef with this kra. But you're right, it's an extra word. It says already Bal Habar Yishalem Kesef, so that tells you that the owner of the hole that caused damage has to pay Yashiv Lamli. So Yashiv, which means to return, that would mean he would have to return something to the person who he damaged. There's an extra word because it already says he has to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Lema Yishalem Kesef Lebala V'leba Yashiv. Let it just say. Now he reiterates the point that it's extra, because all you would need to say is Yishalem Kesef Lebalav, and that's it. You don't need to say the word Yashiv.
Exactly.
So explains in Nemuki Yosef El Rabba Shava Kesef.
Right. So that extra word is a ribui of Shava Kesef. Mashma here. If I didn't have Yashiv, I would have said Kesef Dafka, right?
Right.
Just
correct.
But just to spell it out. So I needed a ribui for it. Okay. So now he goes further.
Vafilu subin demashma kol hashavos.
Vafilu subin. Now this Shava Kesef, don't think it's, maybe it's Meitav. No. It's a subin. How do we know?
Okay. Now what's interesting, of the mashma kol hashavos. Now what's interesting about that is it sounds like he's trying to say that by the Torah choosing the word Yashiv, it's coming to tell you something, and the selection of the word Yashiv is coming to tell you about Afilu Subin, because that word itself is mashma of Kol HaShavos.
Right. Anything you can return.
Which sounds different, right? But it sounds different than the svara of Yilem Mizdav and Hacham Mizdav and Masa Achriti. He's saying it's a word, it's a Torah says an extra word of Yashiv. It's coming to include Shava Kesef, and the word itself tells you even Subin.
Yeah, but now that's the second question is why? No, the first question he's saying is how do you know that it means a filushu? What's the bashat that in the pasuk that tells you a filushu subin? So that's the word hashavas. But now right, why is that? Oh, but now the svara we don't know. Why did the Torah say a filushu?
Okay.
We don't know. What we know is the Torah included a filushu. Right. And that's really all the Brisa said, right?
Right.
The Brisa said, Yoshiv, L'Rabbas, Shavi Kesef, Filusubin. Stop. But what is the Svara? The reason why I'm stopping here is that this Svara that you're going to say will reveal exactly what you think about your relationship between Kesef and Subin. Right. You see? It's a very, very important idea. Remember that Reb Papa was a revolution when he said this idea, this svara, that why did the Torah say Kol HaShabbos? Because if you can't buy it here, you can buy it somewhere else. That was the revolution, because that made Shabbat Kesef better than Karka, right? Because Karka doesn't have the idea of movability. So that Bechina, as the Ramchal in his Der Tfuno says, Bechinas are so important. That Bechina that was explained by Rev Papa changed the relationship that we had to Shavak Kesef and Karka. It put Shavak Kesef better than Karka.
Right.
Okay? Now, we just, to recap, remember we had the other people who were not holding that. Even Rev Hun doesn't hold that, right? Rev Huna can hold that l'chara, right? Because he says that Shavik Kesef is worse than Karka, right? He says, oh, Kesef Ameitav. And if you don't have, then you can use Shavik Kesef.
Right.
Right? So that was a Chiddush of Reb Papa, and it's very good that you stopped there, because this is what one of the points that we should bring out is that each level explains what it explains, but it also stops. They don't write everything down. I told my other student there, he said, why don't they write everything down? I said, you couldn't do Hagbah if they wrote everything down. Well, let Hashem write everything down, he said to me. He said, right now, you couldn't lift us say the Torah, and would just be miyutar is the real answer. But so the what the Brisa says, it says, but the explanation was an explanation that the Amoraim had either as a Kabbalah or they understood it, but that was Reb Papa's Chiddush, and that'll change that whole dynamic relationship that we're talking about between Shavik Kesef and Meitav, I think what you say. So, good. That's excellent that you stopped here. We had the word Yoshiv implies lahashiv, that means just to give back anything. And what's the svara that you can get everything back? Well, that's Reb Papa's svara. Okay, so let's go weiter. So, he says, the mashma kol good. Let's read that again. Yishalom kesel about the low boy Yashiv. Go ahead, just read that.
Loy boy Yashiv el Rabbi Shavik Kesef, v'afilu subin, the mashma kol hashavais.
Good. Next point.
V'chol mili diyohivlei mimetatali meitavnin. Anything which you give, which is a movable object, is considered meitav. Okara papa v'rav huna pasku helchasa kol mafarshim zal.
Right.
And
So,
all the mafarshim pasku like Rav Papa and Rav Huna, meaning Rav Huna is Rav Yeshua.
right. Even though he didn't say it. Right.
Well, yeah, but he means it.
Right. Exactly.
All movable objects are considered meitav, as is karka, as is kesef, and it turns out that there's only one level of means of paying back, because everything is on the same level now. Karka is on the same level as metaltalin, because there's advantages to metaltalin, which is movable. Well, maybe not. No, there was still something that would be called a poor piece of karka. A bad piece of karka would still be on a lower level.
Right.
You have meitav of karka, you have not good karka, but then you have metaltalin and subin, which is all the same as meitav karka.
Right. Right. So now we're going to concentrate on the Rama. Okay? Before we get to that Daled, let's first read the Rama.
Yeah, because of her Ramazal, Hadamafile Yavle Afilu Subin, Hanimili Heicha de Lesle Lamazik Zuzi. That's only where the Mazik doesn't have any Zuzim, meaning, sounds like you're saying cash.
Cash, exactly.
Money. Well,
right.
money.
Right.
But where the Mazik doesn't have money, if the Mazik has money, he must pay him money first. So that's the Rama is adding in, that money has a priority over everything else.
Right. Now this is a Chiddush, and also in Baal Chov. Okay.
Now how does he know this?
Very good. How does he know it? So first we'll read this note over here. Let's read this note. It's the Maram. I highlighted this Maram.
Right. Li Hedyet.
Leah Hedget.
The Hedyet.
He's being modest. He says, I'm only a simple person here. Go ahead. Nearly.
Nearly divrei Ramat Temuhim. In bedivrei hanimukim, shapaisa kirav papa, o kirav huna braid Rav Yeshua, diladid hu, afilu islay zuze yoyavle subin. Haki mashma bashri bach perkin. The Chain kasua taisa behedya b'reish perak hamecha peres. Chain kasua b'chaysha mishpat nun taf yutes. So the Ram says, I don't understand this Rama because I don't know what he wants with the Divrei Nimukim, with the beautiful words that he.
No, I think the Nemuki Yosef tells us. The Nemuki Yosef says that everyone's holding like Reb Papa and Reb Huna B'Reb Yeshu. You see, he adds those words in, right? The line before, he told us that everyone's holding like Reb Papa and Reb Huna B'Reb Yeshua, right? So once you hold like Reb Papa and Reb Huna B'Reb Yeshua, where do you get this idea that Kesef is better?
Right, because according to Reb Papa and Reb Huna B'Reb Yeshua, Zuzi and Subin are equal.
Right. Now I'll ask you, where does he know that?
Even if he has Subin, what?
Now, how does he know that? See that? How does he know that?
Okay.
But that's what he says. The holy day of Filu Islay Zuzei Subin. Where does he get that? Can I ask you?
So
how does he know?
At the Gemara. Let's look back at the words of Reb Papa and Reb Huna B'Reb Yeshua and see if there's any inferences from their words. So
he says it's mashma from the Rush. That's where it's mashma from the Rush, because he brought a raya from Reb Kahana. And now he brings this other Tosfos, which I'm not going to get into, but that's going to be a big, big surprise. This Tosfos in Hamocher. Okay, I'm not going to get into it now, but that's going to be an atomic blast, because all of a sudden Rabbeinu Tam is going to hold like Reb Papa. So I don't want to get into that now. Okay, but I'm just giving you heads-up warning. Okay,
right.
But the point is, you see, there's a hole here. Everyone is presuming, because the Rush brought this raya from Reb Kahana, that you have to have all three things equal. Now, the Gemara never spoke about Kesef when he spoke to Reb Papa.
Right.
Okay, never spoke about Kesef. So Kesef is a floating variable. Now, everyone that presumes the mind, of course, puts it as an equality. Why put it any greater? Right? So that's the Tamua here that's going to set the stage for the question of where did the Rama get his din. And then also we're going to have to talk about the Rambam, who's going to put, he's also going to be in this putting Meitav on the bottom as last. So this is going to be the excitement here, okay? But let's finish with Nemuki is quoting the Rama. And again, I don't know where he ends. Maybe you could figure it out. But he definitely quotes the Rama saying that if you have money, then you have to give it before metaltalin, right? Aval echet islay lamazik zuzay lo matzi dachile lenizach ela bezuzay v'hu adin lebal chov. The same laws with the Baal Chov. The Baal Chov also, if he has money, he can't say to the person who he borrowed the money to, or loaned the money to, I'm sorry, excuse me, the borrower can't pay back with metaltalin unless he has zuzay. Okay? That's the borrower, right? He can't pay back. Now, he says the same din applies to Nezikin. Well, that's against the Rush. It's against Reb Papa, at least against the Rush as he explains the Rif. Maybe someone will explain the Rif differently. The Rif doesn't talk about money here, does he? You see? He does not talk about money. So we have a hole here, and we have to fill it up with a svara. And that's, again, what I'm trying to bring out. Why do people comment? It's not because they want fame and they're not making any money on it. It's because there's a real problem. There's some sort of either difficulty or hole that has to be filled here. And this hole is Kesef. Okay? So let's go further now in the Rama. Okay? Okay? Now he's going to talk about Mekatos, okay?
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So now he says, okay. Wadin Labal Chayv, he says, okay. V'gabe Mekatos, Dahavale Moicher Kegazlan. So somebody who's a Mekatos, the Moicher is like Gazlan. Interesting. The Goslin Chad Michaudala of his Nezikin, and the Goslin is like one of the 24 of his Nezikin Lagabe Meitav. Hamecha Peres Gabe Hamecha Sholach Haveroi Idaleka Leishtalume Mine Lishkarel Tura Bezuzi. If he does not pay him back with money, he could take the shar.
Okay. In other words, the what happened over there, we have to get into this Gemara together. A shore for plowing is worth one a shore for eating, right? So eating is a one-time thing. You shech them and that's it. So there was a Ramoyas here. We'll get into all the details later, Bezrat Hashem. There's a Ramoyas, and the buyer thought he was buying a plowing shore. It turned out to be a natchan. All he could do was shecht it. And so he goes back, and the Gemara says, if the mocher doesn't have money, so then let the buyer, the lokeach, sell the shore and get his money back. Okay, so according to Nuki Yosef, the Peshat over there is, if the mocher doesn't have money, that's the only time that the buyer, who was missold, can use take the shavuot kesef of the shore. Okay, it's a Gemara we have to read. It's a critical Gemara. We have a Tosos over there. I told you that blows everything up. Let's just see what he says. Okay, so he brings a raya from Mekach Tos that you have to give zuzeh before metaltle, which is the shore. Okay?
Right.
Now, what did Rabbeinu Tam say about that? Just to get us back to Rabbeinu Tam.
Oh, we're going back to Rabbeinu Tam. So he said that there is that the din by Mekach Tos is the same like Nezikin also. Right, but Rabbeinu Tam paskins.
Yes, he says it clearly. The Tosos Rav Huna.
He says, yes.
Right.
So he's saying that the is like a Baal Chayiv.
Right.
Where the din is that he has to give zuzim first.
Right. Right. So he agrees. So everyone agrees. That means not everyone, but at least we have the Rama and Tosfos both agreeing in Mekach Tos and in Baal Chov that you have to give money before metalton. Right?
Right.
The only difference here is the Rama all of a sudden says when it comes to Nezikin is not so. It is so. He says also in Nezikin if you have money you have to give it before metalton, whereas Tosfos said he's passing like Rav Huna on our page on Tess, right? Which means that,
right.
that if you have money, yes, if you have money, 1 second. If you have money, you have to give it before metalton. That's right. 1 second. Oh, kesef or meitav. No, that's not true. If yes, that's right. If you have, you're right. 1 second. What did the Rama say here? Let's go back.
Well, the Rama is saying that the Mekach Tais is like one of the Chavdalat Avos Nezikin, and since the din by any of the Chavdalat Avos Nezikin is that if you have zuzim, you have to give zuzim, so Mela by a Mekach Tais you also have to give zuzim. But it sounds like that they may come out with the same result as Taisus, but Taisus has a different reason. Taisus is saying it's because he has a din of a Baal Chayiv, and a Baal Chayiv has to be misalag with zuzim. Because Taisus holds that the din that Taisus paskins like Rav Huna, right? How does Taisus paskin? Taisus paskins
like Rav Huna.
Like Rav Huna.
Well, Rav Huna also says
that you have to give or meitav or kesef, and then if you don't have that, then you can go to metalton. But But if Taisus would hold like the Rama, then the din should be like Rav Huna, where you could pay back your Mekach with Meitav, or with Kesef, or with Metalton, or with Kesef. And then if you don't have those, then you would give back with Shava Kesef. He's clearly saying that the Mekach Tais is clearly saying Mekach Tais is like a Baal Chayv, whereas Rama is clearly saying that Mekach Tais is like one of the 24 hours in Zikin. Now, unless Baal Chayv is one of the 24 hours in Zikin, I'm just missing something. I don't think a Baal Chayv is one of the 24 hours in Zikin, is it?
What? No, Baal Chayv is not one of the 24 hours in Zikin, not at all. Just 1 second. We started off saying that the Rif was holding like Reb Papa, right? And Reb Papa says that you can give, according to the Rush, and according to this understanding of the Rama, if you hold like Reb Papa, then you can give Kesef and Shava Kesef equally, right? No, that's not true. That's not true. Let's go. First he says everybody's holding like Reb Papa and Reb Huna Reb Yeshua, right? Which means that you can give Meitav and all the forms of Metaltalin, right? Is that right?
If he holds like Reb Papa and Reb Huna Reb Yeshua, Deacon, yes.
Now, what about Kesef? We said that Reb Papa did not say anything about Kesef.
Oh. Right, we're assuming that Kesef is the same.
So we've been assuming that Kesef is the same, right? So he's going to say that Kesef is greater than Metaltalin, okay? So that's not what we thought Reb Papa was saying. It will work, however, with Rav Huna, because Rav Huna will say that Kesef is greater than Metaltalin, right? Let's put Meitav aside.
Right.
But if I have Kesef, so Rav Huna says Kesef is greater than Metaltalin. It's just Reb Papa was our problem, right?
Right.
So here in the beginning, the Nemuk Yosef says that the Rif is holding like Reb Papa, and everyone's holding. He says for Kain Kasav Kolam Aforshim. So now here is the problem, because now he says the Rama all of a sudden is saying that Kesef is greater than Metaltalin. Well, that wasn't Reb Papa. I mean, right. It's not Reb Papa as we knew him. It could be Rav Huna. Okay. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. Let me just see if I can close that window. Did this have this in your neighborhood? They come around with big. I think there's probably some lore about it. No.
Yeah. No, they don't do that by us.
Yeah, I think this is an Israeli thing. Okay, and they're getting the speakers, Baruch Hashem. I think they got it from the Arabs that used. Anyway, let's not talk bad about it. Just Baruch Hashem. Let's go further. Okay, so if the Rama was holding like Rav Huna, then you could say that Kesef better than Metaltalin, right? But right. You can't say that they're all equal. That's for sure. So you can't line up the Rama with the Rif. So there's a little bit of a problem here now. Who this Rama is paskening like? If he's paskening like the Rif, so Kesef should be equal, l'chara. Kesef should be equal if we understood the Rush as the Rif understood him. If he's paskening, if he's paskening like Rav Huna, he could say that Kesef is greater. Okay, but let's see what he says. Okay, so that's good. So the Rama said that Metaltalin you can only give it if you don't have Kesef, right? Okay. Okay. And in Megchtos, it's the same thing, because the Mocher is the Gazlan. The Gazlan is one of the 24 Avos Nezikit, and therefore And it's interesting here, like you said, I mean, the Tosfos doesn't say he's a Goslin, and they're not putting a Zikin, and he'll have the din of Meitav. But here in this Perach HaMocher, it says about the Mekach and Memkar, Mechos, that he has to pay back with Kesef over Metaltalin. Okay, so let's go weiter. Ubehedra min hasam de islay zuze lo matzi omalay lish Torah bezuze. Okay, now, go ahead. Okay, so that's the Mekach person, right?
Right.
Now, like I said, I don't know where this Nemuki Yosef ends, and he stops the quote of the Rama. I don't know.
Rama.
Okay, we'll have to figure that out.
I'm trying to find, as you were talking, I was trying to find the Sefer Rama.
I could not. I looked all over the place, and I could not find it. I could not find the Sefer by the Rama.
I don't know.
Maybe you'll have it. You have one of these big databases. No, I asked. But you'll have to. I looked all over. I could not find any Sefer.
I did a search in the Bar Ilan responsive, which has many farms. I didn't find it. What I could do is, my son-in-law has the Item Farshim.
Oh yes. Try to find it there.
The 56,000 farm.
Okay. How does he fit it all in his house? Okay. Baruch Hashem. I know, I'm joking. A digital disc.
1 gigabyte drive, which is about. That's why I bought it from him, because he likes to buy farm.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Exactly. He doesn't have to fill up his house anymore. Except on Shabbos is a problem. So it'll just
except on Shabbos. So yeah, okay. But,
Baruch Hashem for Shabbos. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. So we sit. Into these cases.
There was a person who was.
What happens is someone wanted to collect his debt. He goes to the Baal Chov. The Baal Chov has a desk full of money. He says, "Can I please collect my debt?" He says, "No, this is not my money. This is something I'm just watching for a guy." Okay, right. So that's he's Tolamasa Bakum. Okay, and there also there's mashma that he should have gotten the money first, but since he said it was a guy, he couldn't get it, and the whole business will have to get into that Gemara also. Okay, v'chein mashma. Now here's important.
V'chein mashma is listed damin and hacha, taima.
They're here in the Zikin.
Right. Now, what's the reason why metaltalin is equal to meitav as the Mishum Ilem is Davin Hacham is Davin Hach.
He's trying to bring a raya here that Kesef is greater than Metaltalin from Agamara. V'chein mashma milishna damrin hacha. That Kesef greater than Metaltalin. How? Taima. Yeah.
Right. Mishum Ilem is Davin Hacham is Davin Hacha. The Shaminon Mina. The Kula Milsa. Lizamune Leilinizik. Dami, lizmune leilinizik the niske bezuze. That everything is to. Was the Russian lizmune is to prepare for him, to give
yes.
him. So the money he was damaged. With zuzim, the kiva the mehai taima the mela mashma the chi is lemazik zuzi, the chayav lemesav le zuzi.
Stop.
In other words, he's saying take apart the svara of Elam is Davin Hacham is Davin Hacha. What kind of svara is that? So he's saying that is a svara which gives you the ability to say that the whole point of paying back the nizik with anything is to give him money. Because you're saying that if I can't sell it here, I'm going to sell it here. In other words, that's the point, to sell him to get the money. If the point is to sell him to get the money, that means that the goal is to have money. That means money must be better than everything else because you don't have to go and sell it. You have it.
Exactly. It's mizuman. It's here already. The best thing is money, which is here already. Even the metaltalin is like it because you can sell it and get the money, but it can't be equal to the money. The best thing is the money.
Right.
Remember your svara? Wow, very interesting. Wow, this is very exciting. Your svara was in Reb Papa that money was equal to metaltalin.
money was equal to metaltalin because everything is good.
And if I can't sell it here, I can sell it somewhere else. I'm going to get the money.
Right.
He makes a fine distinction. Look at this. He says, why is metaltalin better than karka? Because it's more mizuman. So kesef is the greatest mizuman. It's right here. You don't even have to sell it. It's right in front of you.
Right. A
pure svara. A pure svara in the Gemara. You know what I'm saying? It's 100% pure svara in the Gemara. It's just a question of how you read the Gemara. It's like we said, the svara of Reb Papa when he gave a svara of why filusubin, right? Which was you can sell it here. So he adds, well, let's now evaluate Reb Papa. What is his svara? His svara, everything that's more mezuman has a priority. That's why metaltalin has a priority over karka. So kesef has the greatest priority, and it should be first. Beautiful, beautiful svara. But it's a svara. You know what I mean? It's not.
Right.
It's not a text. It's a svara.
Right.
Okay. So, but there at least what we gain here is that we can put this Rama in Reb Papa, because before this we thought that Reb Papa held that kesef was equal to metaltalin. It wasn't better.
Right.
And the only one that we said that kesef was better than metaltalin was Rav Huna. But he made metav less than kesef. I mean, he made actually less than metaltalin. Right? So.
Right.
But now we're sensing the problem. But according to this Rama here, now there's two things that the Rama. Okay, what is the Rama bringing a proof to here? We have to be very, very careful in this piece. You see, he says here, and I, the God's coming. Okay.
Right. So let's go back. What was the point of the Mukias of bringing down the Rama?
He says. V'gabe balchov nami mashma hacha. So he's bringing a raya from Agamar and Nezikin to balchov, right? Because we said the question is in balchov, do you have to give the money first or not? So we didn't get into these gemaras yet, and there'll be again different people reading them and understanding them, but his first raya from Balchov comes from this person who was Tolos Mas of Benochri. Okay, right. The second raya is a pure svara from Agamara. That's whatever more mizuman is better, which means that he's making a comparison to Balchov from Agamara. Very, very important. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this is all going to be part of the analysis going on here. Okay, it's very important in Muki Yosef. Okay, so let's go a little weiter. Okay. And then we'll read it again. We're not going to run away from this. We have to read this again quite carefully.
Right.
Okay? So he says, V'hachi mashma Torah bezuz akam. Ushmamine de mizmune le lenizach dame. Anything that is what's a good word for mizuman? Is at hand or something? You know, like you say it when shluach hakan is. Anyway, anything that's mizuman, anything that's at hand, better for the nizak, right? Damin nizik. Whoops, 1 second. Umashmine de kula milta de mizune le nizak. Demay niskei, everything that is what did I say word? Mizumne, anything that's at hand, okay, for the nizak to collect money for his damage, bezuze, right? Okay. V'kevin de mahai taima u mamela mashma de ki isle lamazik zuze yischayev lamesiv zuze. That was the whole svara. The whole svara is to get money. So anything that can get you money fast is better. So having the money is the best because it's right there. Okay. Let's see this next raya. V'chein. And now he says that. So, this was his. He needed this Gemara to prove Balchov. Also, that you have to pay with money first. So he's saying that the din of Baal Chov is just like this din in Nezikin. Why? Keep reading.
By the ha, the
In Baal
gara,
Chov.
koichai, the malva, the beinenis, habe mishum.
Whoops. Yeah, you can't see the words. We'll have to, gotta make it a little smaller. Okay. Okay. Get back to our place. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The whore, the gara kocho, the malva mi bebeinanis, right? How can you learn balcho from the zikin? Zikin is a chumrah, right? Maybe there you have to give money first because you have to give meitav. So that's why you have to give money first, right? But in balcho, where you don't have that chumrah of meitav sedehu, so maybe you don't give money first, right? So he has to answer that kasha. Okay, so keep reading. V'chein adim b'balcho.
The gara koichai, the milva, the beinenis, habe mishum cheshasha, the shema yikvaitz. The Ovenu. I don't know what that means.
Okay, it says like this. How come the Torah said that the malva only gets beininus? So he says a svara. Why doesn't the malva get meitav? Because if the malva would know that he could get meitav, he'd find some poor schlump and borrow and loan him a lot of money in the hopes that the guy will default and he'll get the meitav back.
Right.
It's a devious malva, but that's what he says. He says there's another svara. What's the svara that the malva only gets beininus? Because we don't want him to get chamna, al tichmot, this poor guy's property and rip it off him. It's pretty fun.
Right.
Remote, but that's why we give him beininus. We knock him to beininus. Okay? Because of the chashash, the shemi yichpots, he'll jump the malva and lend the local over money in hopes getting his land back. So we cut that down by saying we only get them. Okay, but in principle he wants to say they're the same, and you can learn the case of the malva from the case of nezikin. Okay, let's continue. V'hor.
V'hod v'hol shayach ela bekarka delay matzi la'avruche le. That svara of Shemi Yikvaitz V'Yovenu is only appropriate by karka because
I think it means he can't what? Can't jump down. I think it means he can't jump down. The lova can't lavriach means to like say someone goes into default. So before he goes into default, he's lavriach all his stock, you know what I mean? And then he says, okay, I chapter 15, whatever that's called, I'm bankrupt. Lavriach means to escape. The English word means to it. So this whole svara that made the malva weaker than the nizak was only because of this chashash that the malva would take advantage of the nizak. But this chashash only deals with karka, right? Because a malva wouldn't try to rip off someone's metaltalin, because metaltalin moves around, and by the time the loan gets defaulted, the metaltalin may disappear, right? But land, which is always solid, so there I'll have a good svara. Maybe I'll be able to rip off that great land. So the Torah knocks it down to metaltalin. Okay. Aval metaltalin, v'zuzi. Right, because it's liquid, right? Exactly, and therefore I could learn, I could learn the din that money has precedent over metaltalin from nezikin.
Right.
Very interesting.
Right. So he's saying that's why a balcha gets from beininus, but it still gets zuzi first.
Right. Because Zuzah is not shaykh. That the Torah knocked the Baal Chov down to Beinanis and not Meitav because it was afraid the Baal Chov would take advantage of the Lova. But when it comes to Metaltalin, the Baal Chov will never be able to take advantage of the Metaltalin of the Lova because Metaltalin is here today, gone tomorrow. So it's not like, oh, you have a beautiful, I don't know, some sort of, who knows what Cadillac, you know what I mean? And I want that Cadillac. I'll loan you money and you'll default and I'll get the Cadillac. But the Cadillac can be gone tomorrow. You can just sell it. But land, you can't, land has a lien on it, right? So once you have a loan on the land, no matter who, even if you do sell it, the land still has a lien on it. So the Torah said that don't get the Meitav in the land because we're afraid that the Mavel will take advantage. But Metaltalin, that Svar doesn't exist because the Mavel will never take advantage of the Metaltalin of the Lower because he doesn't know if it will be sold the next day. Okay, so there, meaning the old Svara that we can import from the scene that Kesef is greater than Metaltalin. Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's go weiter.
Right. The word Avruche appears in the Dharam. In a Mishnah. Oh, it's the Gemara. Alma Avruche Ari Ba'almahu.
Abruche Ari, to chase away the Ari. To chase away. That's Lavriach. Okay, I know in modern Hebrew that's what it means. It means there it means to chase away. It means to escape, split down. I don't know how to say it. Nice English.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. Beseda. Okay. So there he's trying to bring that we can learn Balcho from the Zikin when it comes to Metaltalin. Okay. Very good. Let's go a little weiter. V'chein nira.
V'chein nira. The iyus le'metaltalin ba'ara. Le'matzi yav le'ara. If the Baal Chayiv, I guess he's referring to here still, has metaltalin and ara, you cannot give him ara. The metaltalin adif tzvei l'haytaima la'azmune le'zuzei. There's less trouble involved in selling metaltalin. Of course, you don't need to make big announcements. If you're selling a piece of karka, you can't pick it up, move it around, and take it to the market. You have to hire a broker. You have to put the ads in the paper. You have to announce that you're selling it.
Exactly.
Whereas metaltalin, take it to the market, and you can find somebody to buy it.
So now this he's talking about Balcho, but it seems that he's using the same svara that he just imported from Nezikin, correct?
Right.
So therefore, even in Nezikin, he would tell you again, and this svara is the svara of Reb Papa only, it seems, right? So he's now making another distinction in Nezikin to Mamela, that metaltalin is even better than karka for that reason, because it's more mezuman.
Right.
Very, very interesting. So now we have, according to this Nemuki Yosef, the Rama is holding in Nezikin, Kesef is the first choice. If you don't have Kesef, you can use metaltalin as the second choice. And only if you don't have metaltalin, you use the Meitav Karka, which is the third choice.
Ukronami hachi mashma behedya. The Tafkazov mashma. The Bechut Tamoid. The Savi al Beise Lavoid. The Stomach the Isle Bayis mashma. So the Malva has to stand outside and he can't go inside to collect. So we're talking about where he has a bias. And yet you see that he's not taking the house. He has to stand outside and wait for him to bring his metaltalin. So it must be that the metaltalin comes first.
Right. Wow.
That's an interesting bias in the pasuk.
Well, is the guy renting? He could be renting, but it's not. It's talking about all cases. Mashma, the guy owns the house, and you're not allowed to go into the house. he has to take out what he wants. What he's going to take out is a metaltalin. So you say, no, I want the house. If the house was better than the metaltalin or equal to it, but you see, there's a little bit of a problem here because who is deciding? So it's the lover that's deciding what to give, right? And the Torah says you have to stand out. So what was it, lower? You could come out and give him a contract for the house. Interesting. We have to think about that raya. But it's clear from this Rama that in Nezikin and in Balchov, money has a precedent, and he goes further. Now, again, I don't know where the Rama ends. I told you that in the beginning. I don't know if this whole thing is the Rama, only the beginning is the Rama. It's not clear at all to me. But it is clear that that according to this Rama, that Kesef has a precedent over metaltalin, and metaltalin has a precedent over karka. Okay, so let's, how much time do you have?
What time is it now? I have like another 15 minutes.
Oh, very good, excellent. Let's look, I want to do two things. I would like to look at the Rambam. And again, you know, the Rambam is a whole world with all sorts of maforshim, and they're going to be in this problem day and night.
Right.
And the reason why we have to now focus on the Rama and the Rambam is two reasons. First of all, the halach is going to make a turn to the Rambam. Okay, that's what he said. Look at the Choshen Mishpat. The Tur is going to quote the lashon of the Rambam, and then the Shulchan Aruch is going to follow along. So there's going to be there's a very practical interest in this Rambam. It's not just the theoretical interest, but it really halachic interest in the learning energy is going to move here to explain where did this Rama and where this Rambam come by their din. Okay, but Baruch Hashem, we just read the Rama, and again, wherever we're going to have to decide where the Rama ends and Yosef begins, but there was a svara said here in Rav Papa. Okay, and which means that the Rama is holding like Rav Papa, and there's just a svara that's making the Kesef first, metaltalin second, and the land third. So let's look at this Rambam. Okay, I couldn't get a good print of the page. I have one, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, they don't have the latest prints on HebrewBooks.org yet, right?
No, they have the texts. They don't have the. And I tried to take a photostat of mine. The book is very big. If it half and half, I had to put it together. Anyway, whatever it is, let's just read the Rambam in here. They're all quoting. It is the Rambam, Mishnah Torah Halacha Ches. Chapter Ches Halacha Vav. Yud.
In a case where Bezdin, it's interesting, he starts over Bezdin.
Exactly.
Bezdin has to collect a damage from the possessions, from the assets, of the mazik.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, Gaivin min ha-metaltalin techila. First, they collect from movable objects. Okay. Number two is imla hayu metaltalin klal oy shaloi hayu metaltalin keneged kol hanezek. Either he doesn't have at all, or he doesn't have enough metaltalin to sell to be the value of the damages. Gaivin hashar min ha-karka min ha-yafa shabenachzei mazik. So he's clearly saying that metaltalin is first, not like Rav Papa and Rav Huna Rav Yeshua, where everything is equal. He's saying you have to go to metaltalin first. And then if you don't have metaltalin, then you can go to karka. Now what happened to Kesef? He doesn't say. So he's putting it like a disclaimer. It's really, this goes back on number one, that saying that whenever there is any metaltalin, even metaltalin which would be considered subin, he cannot go to the karka yet. He still has to go to metaltalin.
Right. So again,
he doesn't mention kesef.
I'm just going to have to, just my wife said, I'm going to take 1 second just to tell that person to call back. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, look at this Rambam. First question, nothing about Kesef. Although he does, and secondly, he's talking about the based in collecting. Why is the based in collecting?
Why is the Bezin collecting? Okay, so let's try to figure out what happened, what the story here is. For some reason, that's very interesting that he says Bezdin, because he obviously is he referring back to the teretz of the Gemara on the Zayin and Aleph that said that there's a difference between when Bezdin collects and when he collects without Bezdin.
Okay. That's pretty hard to say. That he's talking about Rava's position.
Right.
I think the simplest svara would be that the mazik doesn't have kesef.
Right. Right.
If we say that the Rambam is holding like the Ramaz, we just understood him in the Mukha Yosef. So the based in, the guy says, well, I don't have any money. So we say, okay, now the based in has to go down into your property and start doing a chipus, an evaluation of your assets here.
Right.
So you said right away, this is not Reb Papa. But wait a minute, according to the Rama, what did according to the Rama we just read?
Right. So according to the Rama that we just read, you have to give kesef first, right?
Right. And if you don't have kesef,
then everything else is the same.
Nope. The end of that, the Mukha Yosef, whoever he is, or said that the same svara, the svara of Mazuman, put kesef in front of metaltalin and metaltalin in front of karka.
That's true. Right? That was true. I forgot about that.
So this could be, this could very well be the Rama's interpretation of Reb Papa. Brought in this run, okay, or Yosef, whoever it is.
Right. Right.
Okay. But this is going to be a big controversy over here. This is going to be a big, as we go down to the next levels, because we're going to go into the Shulchan Aruch here. So we're going to see that this is going to be a big dispute. Where the Rambam got this halacha from? Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you here. What I wanted to show you here is, first of all, we have to figure out where this. That maybe you read it over. You tell me where does this quote of the Rama end? Okay, because of Rama v'zel lashano, he doesn't say ad kan lashano, but there's a little move here. Right. Okay, but here I would like to look at this Gemara with you. Okay, and a matter of fact, since you like to read, so here's the Gemara. Okay, yeah, it says Hamocha peres lechavaro v'zaran. He sold seeds, I suppose, to his friend, or fruits, excuse me, and he planted them. In other words, for seed.
And he planted them.
Yeah.
And they didn't grow.
Yeah. And what happened? Below Tzamchu. They were sterile. V'fil zera pishtan. You know who zera pishtan? Flax.
Which probably is a chiddush because you don't eat them. Fruits, the mocher could say, I was selling them to you to eat. But there are pishtan, you can't say that.
Yeah. Exactly. It can only be for
So even though the buyer was intending to plant them and he bought them and they didn't grow, the seller is not responsible
right.
to replace them.
Yeah. That's what Rashi said. Okay. Now the Gemara. Go ahead. Itmar.
Itmar. So again, this is also mekach tais, because the guy bought a shar, and he found that afterwards that it was a lemon. It was a nakhan. Rama harei the mekach tais. What? They didn't have lemons in those days?
But they had mekach. Okay. Right?
That's the same thing. You buy a car.
Exactly, 100%.
Find out that it's a nakhan. Rav Amar harei the mekach tais. So it's Machlokes Rav and Shmuel as to what can the seller claim. Rav says can't claim anything. It's a mekach tais. The buyer has the right to get it replaced. Shmuel says no. The seller could say, I thought I was selling it to you for shchita. Therefore, I was not obligated to say anything to you. And therefore, the sale is final, and that's it.
Okay. Good. So the Gemara says, go ahead.
Right, the Gemara of the lechzei igavid zaman lenichsasa ilaradya liradya. Let us see what the person typically buys for. If he buys lenichsasa,
is it the buyer or the seller?
The zavin. What the buyer or the seller?
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know what the word nechsasa means. That's a shchita. No, lenechasta. Doesn't that mean for shchita?
I'm sorry? Yeah. Yes, it means sheikh, and radia is for plowing. All right?
It's for plowing. So therefore it depends on the buyer.
Yeah.
Right? Is it up to the seller to be the?
I think it's. I think it's the. I just remember that it was the buyer. 1 second.
No. So the art scroll says im alakeach has a raga luknes shram l'shchita.
Oh, really? Lokeach.
Put in parentheses, for example. Sure.
It's on the lokeach. Oh, okay. Okay, in other words, let the buyer, because he's claiming mekach tos, so let's look if it really was. Let's see what he normally buys.
Let's look at what he is, right. If he's a butcher,
right,
and he always buys cattle for butchering, then the seller could claim, look, you're a butcher. I assumed you were buying it for butchering. I didn't have any obligation to tell you that it's a nakhan. Therefore, the sale is final, and you keep it. But ilaradya, if he's a farmer, and he typically buys for plowing, then, or in the, if you want to have the art scroll, but the nekudos, it's liridya.
Liridya. Good. So then it's a mekach tos, right?
Then, right. So then they're going to say that the Gemara is saying that Rav and Shmuel is not arguing in that case. Everybody's going to agree. In other words, everybody's going to agree that where it's clear what the intention of the buyer is,
right,
then there's not going to be an argument between Rav and Shmuel.
So where is the argument? Begavra?
So the Gemara says the argument must be Begavra Zavin lahachi lahachi. Somebody who buys sometimes this or sometimes that. Sometimes they buy for shechting, sometimes they buy for plowing.
So I guess the buyer should have informed him that,
Butcher.
Yeah, exactly. He's a butcher and a farmer. So the buyer has an obligation to tell him, which one do you want? Okay. So now the Gemara says, Vaita, yeah. Let's just look at the money of the sale, right?
Let us see how it paid. Right.
Exactly. You paid a little amount of money. We know it was for shechting. You paid a lot of money. It was for plowing, right?
Right. Like tzricha, the Iker Bisra, to come midvei radya, the prices moved, and now the price for a cow, a shor for shechita is the same as the price for a cow for plowing.
Right. So the money's not going to help us.
So the question was, what's the nafkamina? What do you mean, what's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is whether he gets reimbursed. What's the next question? Nafkamina.
Rashi talks a lot here. Lamai nafkamina, Rashi.
The nafkamina is because lamaisa. Okay, without looking at Rashi, I'm just looking at the article. The buyer doesn't have to go back to the seller in order to get reimbursed for his purchase of this cow, of this shor, which is a nagchan. He could just shecht it and sell it. He'll get his money back. Don't involve the seller.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't
sustain any loss.
He didn't lose anything. What do you say? Well, what did Mekachtos? I'm not losing it. You didn't lose anything.
Right. You bought a shor for $100. You want your $100 cash back to go buy a different shor. Go sell this one. Of course you could sell it. Go shecht it and sell it. You get $100. So don't involve me, says the seller. So that's the Gemara's question. Why am I nafkamina? What's the difference?
I'm teaching now.
Right. So he says, look at the Rabbi Shmuel.
I gave you the right price. You can't claim I cheated. I didn't cheat you. You got your money's worth. It's just no matter. Even if you're going to use it for shechting, you got your money's worth. It's not called cheating you.
Right.
What did I cheat you for?
Right.
It's not a lemon. It's
right.
You get your money back. Okay. So what does the Gemara answer? Letir.
The Gemara answer is nafkamina letir.
What does that mean?
The difference is for the trouble. In other words, the question is whether or not the buyer has to trouble himself to go and shecht it and sell it. It's much easier for him just to pull this shor nachon back to the seller and say, "Give me back my cash."
Exactly.
Rashi says,
Right.
Right. So that's the nafkamina.
Okay, that's an nafkamina. Good. Now here's our Gemara that we need.
Okay. Hechidami. Yeah. What are we talking about? So what is the case where the mekach is batal? If we're talking about where he doesn't have money to pay him back, right? The seller doesn't have any money to pay him back. Let the buyer just hold the shor, and that's it. And he has the value there.
That's true.
So what's the whole din over here?
Let's read Rashi here. Either
like a moise mitzuyos l'meicher. If the meicher doesn't have any money, l'shtal lumei lekach minei. For lekach to get paid back from the meicher. Amayam Rava is a mekach tzayis. The yachzir.
Why did Rava say it's a mechak tos and return the shore?
And he should return it. The yachzir ashor li'akev tura atzman b'zuzim. I'm just hold on to the shor. The value is there.
Exactly. Why does he have to? Was he gaining?
Right.
What is he gaining by saying if the mocher doesn't have any money?
Right.
So what is he gaining by giving back the shore to the mocher? At least let him sell the shore and get some of his money back. Right?
Right.
Right? Now, how do we know that that's true? That he should get some of his money. It's better to have a shore that he doesn't want, that he could sell and get some money back than to give it, than have no money from the Mekach Tos guy. The Omer Inshe.
Right.
What do people say?
Davar Inshi, people will say, Man Mari Reshusech. Who is the master of Yerushus. What does that mean? Min Mare Rishusach.
I think it means something that's in your shoes. Pa'ire afra. Take it. We'll read Rashi. It's something like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. It's like if you have something in you better keep it. Let's read Rashi.
Oh, so Rashi says Mikra Nafkal Parakamad Bava Kama. It's a pasuk in Parakamad Bava Kama. The Amar Avuna Kesef Yishalem Meitav Sadehu. Either you pay Kesef or you pay Meitav Sadehu. The Eser Rav Nachman Rav Huna. Yashab Rabba Shabbat Kesef Mishaniach Ma'iskin and Bedil Lesley Mois Mitzuyas. The Lesley
Pshita says the Gemara.
He doesn't have it. That he can't say that. So too over here, I guess he's saying the Amri Inshi Min Manmari Rishustech Pari Efra. From what is in your Rishus?
So let's read Rashi. Ha'ish. Let's just read Rashi. Ha'ish. A person who owes you money, yeah. Rishusech means owes you money.
Right, Rishusech, he owes you money, because he's Rishusech, he owes you money, I guess.
Even take Subin B'Shavio. When a guy owes you money, you should even take Subin.
Right.
Don't wait till this guy gets money.
Right.
Not a good idea. You better take even Subin.
Right.
Now, what does this have to do with Rav Huna? What does this have to do with the price of salt in China here?
Okay. Let's need some analysis.
Okay.
The only problem is I have to run.
Okay. Anyway, go over this Gemara. I'd like to. This Gemara is going to be pivotal. One of the pivotal Gemaras. Okay, it's going to be pivotal. So let's think about it a little. Next time we meet, we're going to go into the tour. Okay, so read the Beis Yosef over there, and you'll see that the Beis Yosef is going to make a very big deal of what we just studied now. So you can also look at this Gemara a little. We'll get back to this Gemara through the Beis Yosef because he wants to bring this Gemara up. Okay? Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Okay. Okay.
Call to.